Hello, everyone, and welcome to the finale of What If the Rescue Bots Were Placed on Team Prime. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. So, we start this part off with the Autobots preparing their weapons, everything that they got, to infiltrate and defeat the Decepticons. Bumblebee, Bulkhead, RC, and Wheeljack then say kinda like goodbyes to the kids, but they'll be back, but just in case. And soon enough, Hideous Prime gives the order, Autobots, transform and roll out, with Quick Shadow saying, nice battle cry. And then, the Autobots move on out, through the ground bridge, onto High Tide. And this is where High Tide meets the team for the first time.
So, you're the one who took the place of my old friend Optimus, right?
Yes, he chose me, and I bear the Matrix with all my spark, proud and honored of who I am.
Well, let's get to work.
They then see the Khan warship in the distance. Meanwhile, on the Nemesis, on the viewing screen, they see the ship where the Autobots are on. They don't know it's a robot transformer yet. Dr. Morocco tells Megatron, that is the weapon that they're gonna use against you. With Megatron laughing. Really? A glorified cargo hauler against a mighty warship? What outcome could the Autobots possibly be thinking? And with that, High Tide transforms into Megabot, activating his riot cannon, and shoots the Decepticon warship, making it crash into the ocean. And I can see this like a G1 reference, like how when their ship was crashed underwater. Soundwave surveys the damage, with Megatron saying, "Grr! Decepticons, attack!" We then see the Seekers, Dreadwing, Soundwave, Flyers, everything heading out the Insecticon hive. We see them all flying out to attack High Tide. But that's when we see Team Prime underwater, headed towards the warship, but that's where Megatron, Arachnid, Knockout, and all ground troop vehicons are there waiting for them, with Hideous Prime saying, "Give us the Omega Keys, Megatron, and we'll make this easy." With Megatron immediately responding, "Well, I won't." And then he whips out the Dark Star Saber. And you guys are wondering, how it was destroyed? Well, Megatron still has the Forge plus Liege Maximal's arm, so he could have easily rebuilt a new one. So yeah, anyway, Hideous Prime responds by whipping out his Star Saber, and both him and Megatron have a clash. And we also see the rest of the Autobots fighting off all of the Vehicons and Dreadwing and Soundwave. And that is when we see Quick Shadow sneak past the whole fight, and she heads into the Nemesis, going towards the vault. And she sees Knockout, the Coneheads, and Redwing there. And she goes in and kinda dispatches them all with ease, but that is when, right as she's about to type the keypad code to get into the vault, she hears footsteps behind her, and the Moorbot makes himself known. He automatically blasts her, which causes her to go through the Nemesis wall, and that's when ocean water comes flooding into the Nemesis. With Quick Shadow immediately activating scuba gear, because her vehicle mode is an agent car, and she grabs the Omega Keys and heads on out of there, with the Seekers immediately transforming and chasing her through the water, with Morocco also joining in the pursuit. Soon enough, we see Megatron getting the upper hand on Hideous Prime in a way. And soon enough, High Tide decides to join in the battle. So we see him transform, get out of Megabot, and in his submarine mode, he rams into Megatron at high speeds, knocking him off Hideous Prime, transforming, then activating a path blaster and shooting Megatron rapidly. But That is when Megatron tries to use the Dark Starsaber against High Tide, and this is where we see Hideous Prime use his Wolverine claws and shatter off Megatron's arm, just like how Optimus did in canon in the Omega Lock fight, with Megatron immediately groaning in pain, and High Tide and Hideous Prime punch him back and forth. But soon enough, Morocco uses an EMP to shock Quickshadow, and Quickshadow faints, where Dr. Morocco then grabs the Omega Keys, with everybody turning their attention to Morocco. Megatron then says, "Excellent work, Morocco. Now hand over the Omega Keys to me and let us finish these Autobots." And that is when Morocco is like, "No, I want to get revenge on the Autobots, and the only way to do that is to destroy these Omega Keys." And he prepares his cannon to destroy the Omega Keys. That is when everybody, every Autobot and Decepticon there, teams up and gains up on Morocco, with Morocco being able to defeat mostly the Vehicons, and Megatron getting furious at all of his Decepticons. "Are none of you able to defeat this human? Attack!" And that is where we see all Decepticons attacking, but Morocco swifting them with ease. We then get to Arachnid trying to attack Morocco, but that is when Morocco manages to cut off her little spider legs and using a chainsaw, and then she's thrown to the ground. And then in an act of treachery, hoping that nobody notices her, she makes her escape. That is when Megatron looks at us. "Arachnid, you traitor!" And Soundwave immediately accesses the bomb in her head and blows her up as she runs away, killing Arachnid. All the Autobots look in shock, especially RC, who herself wanted to kill Arachnid, not Morocco. But this is where we see Boulder, Chase, and Blades try something to end Morocco once and for all. Boulder designs an EMP so powerful that could shut him down once and for all. He and Salvage get to work on building that machine, and soon enough, in a few seconds, it's done. He then hands it to Blades. You know what to do. With Blades immediately transforming to his copter mode, flying towards Morocco, with Chase transforming as well and headed towards Morocco, with the Autobots opening cover fire so that they could perform this plan. And Team Prime are not the only ones opening fire. The remaining Decepticons are pretty much fighting Morocco off, so he's really distracted. Soon enough, he notices Blades flying above him. He then shoots at Blades' propellers, which causes Blades to go crashing down, but this is the water, so he's not gonna make a big impact. But he transforms mid going down, throws the device at Chase, with Chase grabbing it, running at Morocco. And that is where we see Blur go in slow motion using the red energon and pushes Morocco almost into a ravine. Then the world is set back to normal, with Chase combining the machine to his shoulder cannon and blasting it at Morocco. The Moorbot immediately starts shutting down. "No, this is not how I'm supposed to end. No." And that is where we see Wheeljack, Bulkhead, RC grab the Omega Keys mid-flotation in the water. And this is where we see Hideous Prime look down at him as he falls into a ravine in the water. Farewell, Morocco. They then turn around to see Megatron, Dreadwing, Soundwave, Knockout, and the Coneheads as the remaining Decepticons left. "Hand over the Omega Keys, Autobots, or else you perish." That's when Hideous Prime looks at Blur. Do it. Blur then goes into slow motion, grabs Stasis cuffs and slaps them on all the Decepticons in slow motion. And then they wake up a second later, and then they just look at themselves with handcuffs. Megatron then says, "I'd rather you just kill me instead of this." Hideous Prime then walks up to him. "No, not even you. There's been enough killing." And with that, Team Prime has won the war, where we see the Autobots putting the remaining Decepticons into a prison cell brig within Megabot. They say farewell to their human friends, and soon enough, set a course for Cybertron to restore their planet. And as they journey through space and see Cybertron, we then see Optimus's silhouette form in the stars with a smile. Here's a quick recap of why I ended it off like this and nothing else happened. Well, Shockwave would not stand a chance against all the Autobots at once. Especially even if he brings on the Predacon. The Predaking would not at all be able to stand against High Tide. They got High Tide. And Ultra Magnus would also eventually come to Cybertron, so he would be there to help. So that's an extra add-on to the Autobots. So even if he tries a rescue, he wouldn't really get anywhere and ultimately be defeated or captured himself. And Unicron has no vessel at all to control. Yes, his mind would be active, but he would have no one to control. Megatron would have likely destroyed or blown up Starscream's body after his death. So there's no way Starscream would be revived. And he could control Terracon Skyquick, but Terracon Skyquick is stuck in the Shadow Zone. So there's really nothing he could do with that. So there's no threats anymore. So ultimately, the Autobots won. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this story. And I'll see you guys in the next one.